this week in Moto from around the world in 10 minutes or less. We first have to start about the Arlington Supercross, where you've got the Ghost Ride. You've got Cooper Webb with a second win of the series as an underdog. Which is interesting is Hayden Deegan got penalized, got a written warning, a code of conduct violation for, my guess, is the Ghost Ride. Could you imagine if he went full send off the finish line? What would have happened? We knew that it was illegal to do this, so the written warning, I believe, suffices for the crime because he's probably never going to do it again. With Cooper Webb flipping off over the finish line, I've got mixed feelings about this because it is the finish line photo shoot where they've got press and everybody right there that you're supposed to have some big whips. And yes, Supercross is trying to be more professional all the time. And I'm the guy that likes drama. However, I don't know exactly how I feel about this because ironically, this has happened 4 times out of the last 7 races. It happened here in Arlington. It happened twice in San Diego with Cooper Webb and Jet Lawrence flipping off Anderson. Then it happened in Detroit with Deegan flipping off a whole bunch of people because of the first turn crash. So if AMA wants to put a stop to this, well, they probably have to have another code of conduct violation, which they didn't to anyone, or have some fines. And on the means of fines, there is some other interesting things that happen in Arlington with Forkner landing on the concrete and not being in a backboard. The internet is taken fire by saying that he shouldn't have just been in a neck brace, but he should have been on the backboard. In this week's videos, I talked about how the medical personnel advised that to happen, but Forkner denied that and he wanted to walk on his own 2 feet.
Just give you guys an update. I don't really remember a lot about the race. I didn't even know. I thought I was in the lead, but I didn't know how I got there. If I whole shot or I had to pass some guys till I rewatched the race. But I will say that about halfway through the main 7-8 minutes in, my left contact fell out.
Yes, if they want to enforce medical advice, they should probably fine Forkner. Yeah, it might not be the most popular opinion. However, the AMA has discretion to do that. And if you are not going to use the advice of the medical personnel and pretty much somewhat put yourself at risk, that is what happens. I am 1000% happy that Forkner was able to walk off, and he's tough as nails. Adrenaline is pumping. It's just one of those scenarios. I'm indifferent about it. However, there is some solutions for everyone that is arguing for or against it. Just happy that he does not need surgery. If I'm moving on to the Arena Cross UK, you had Stark in its inaugural season of racing win its first championship with pilot Jake Brunel.
I know as soon as that first gate dropped, I knew I was ready to race tonight. So, yeah, massive thanks to all the team. We finally won the championship for me and the first person to ever win for Stark, which is unbelievable. So, yeah, can't wait.
Very interesting times we live in. The sport seems torn when it comes to electric dirt bikes and not. And I've heard rumors of manufacturers not really wanting to let Stark in on most competitions because look at what this. Their bike is so good. I've ridden their bike. It is so fast. It is a cheater bike. And you can argue it's hard to hear whatnot. You're taking away some of the controls because you don't have a clutch and a shifter. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below while you wheel tap that subscribe and notification icon. If we're moving to MXGP, they had another preseason race where Glenn Koldenoff actually ended up winning at the Hawkstone Park International, and Herlings finished second with a 4-1-1. What was interesting about that race is what Jeffrey Herlings had to say after the fact.
When I want to become world champion, I don't need to race Jet Lawrence. So that's my luck. And
goes on to say that Jet Lawrence could be the greatest rider of all time. And this is coming from a guy that is considered the best motocross rider of all time. In SuperEnduro, we've got Billy Bolt hitting Super Pole in Bulgaria. And I just like watching this stuff because these bikes don't look like they have suspension. It looks like they just float over everything. It is such a soft and fast setup that they're able to get over all these rocks and everything. I've done some enduros before, and my wife actually said that was the least sexy thing that I've ever done in my life, and it had a lot to do with my physical ability. And I was running pro arena cross setup on this stuff, so I was able to get some hole shots, but I pretty much just had my tail in between my legs and didn't move anywhere because I just was always on the ground. So it's incredibly cool to watch these guys, and not to take anything away from them, because Billy Bolt can ride circles around so many guys as far as technically, because your balance has to be on point the slower you go. And in Enduro, you're relatively going slow. Ironically, these guys are hauling freaking ass, but you get my point. He is 60-ish points ahead of Johnny Walker, so Johnny's got some catching up to do if he's trying to beat this guy for the world championship. I really enjoy Michael Lindsay's take on bike reviews. The Triumph, nobody's really been able to ride one, but the dealers have had deposits on bikes. That's how you were able to get the Triumph to race with Jalik Swoll and Evan Ferry in Supercross, is because they've sold enough units. The units just weren't really delivered until now. And now you've got some of the main guys with Vital, Motocross Action, Dirt Bike Rider, all having the reviews come out. My favorite is actually from Vital, and it's partially because of what Michael Lindsay has to say about the chassis.
2019, and they said they really wanted to nail the chassis, and I'll hand it to them. I will, we're testing a different track. I don't have any bikes to sit here and compare it to. I would say potentially my first impression is possibly the best chassis in class. It is an excellent combination of comfort, stability, traction. It's planted. I really enjoyed that part of it, and also figuring out how I could push the bike. So out of the box, 105 millimeter sag, I believe 2 or 3 millimeters on the fork height.
The full video is on their channel. This could be the best 250 out of the crate for a weekend warrior. I would love to eventually ride one of these, which I probably will at some point. Unfortunately, I hate to end the videos like this, but this news broke after last week's show, where we've got freestyle legend and hero Jaden Archer passing away at 27 years old. He was one of 3 riders to ever land a triple backflip in competition, and to the best of my knowledge, he was training to be the first rider to land a quadruple backflip, and he unfortunately passed away in an accident, with some speculation that he was training for just that move, that quadruple backflip. This dude lived life on the edge, and he quotes that he's not here for a long time, he's here for a good time. So my condolences go out to everyone that this guy influenced, his family, his friends. So sad to hear. And I know he's keeping it WFO wherever he is at. On that note, my exit video is going to be silent in remembrance to Jay Archer.